Hello, BBN. Did Mark Pope make a friendly dig at Reed Shepherd? Before the news, subscribe to the channel to receive more news from the Wildcats. The atmosphere around Kentucky basketball seems to be taking on new contours with Pope, who, in addition to demonstrating a charismatic and engaging leadership style, has also shown an unmatched ability to deal with delicate situations. In recent days, a subtle comment made by the coach during an interview with Matt Jones caught the attention of the most attentive BBN fans. While discussing the special connections that form between players and coaches over time, Pope inserted a playful barb that may have been directed at Reed Shepherd, a former Wildcats player who was a central figure in one of the milder controversies. For those who closely follow the behind-the-scenes of the Kentucky basketball program, the reference made by Pope was practically inescapable. During his speech, he mentioned his relationship with Rick Pitino, his former coach at Louisville, now in charge of St. John's, and stated with an almost mischievous smile, "I'm not going to wear a St. John's jersey, but I love Coach Pitino." The seemingly simple phrase can be read as a friendly dig at the episode involving Reed Shepherd, who, months ago, wore an Arkansas jersey on the night Kentucky faced the Razorbacks at Rupp Arena, in a game marked by John Calipari's return to the arena where he built much of his legendary career. At the time, Shepherd justified the gesture as an attempt to be funny, but the reaction from the fans was not exactly receptive, especially given the loss suffered by the Wildcats. The episode, although minor in technical terms, left emotional scars on an extremely passionate fan base deeply connected to the symbols of its tradition. Now, 3 months later, Pope's mention seems to indicate that the coach is willing to approach the subject in a lighthearted manner without creating tension, but at the same time reinforcing the values of Kentucky basketball's culture. Pope's tone is revealing of his approach as a leader. Far from being a strict disciplinarian or someone who seeks to point fingers, he chooses to use humor as a tool for connection and teaching. The comment about the St. John's jersey was not said with malice, but rather as a way to poke fun at Shepherd in a healthy way, something that is part of the repertoire of interactions between close friends, especially between teammates and former teammates. It is important to remember that Pope not only knows Reed and his family well, but also worked side by side with Jeff Shepherd, Reed's father, in recent days, helping the London community clean up the wreckage left behind by a devastating tornado. This context reinforces that the provocation was based on affection and camaraderie, not harsh criticism. There's also something deeply human about the way Pope handles issues like this. He understands that at 20, any player is in a constant learning curve, both on and off the court. Young people, no matter how talented, are bound to make mistakes. Sometimes silly, sometimes more significant, but they happen. If wearing the Arkansas jersey was one of those moments, Pope found a clever way to turn it into a lesson without creating unnecessary friction. Another interesting aspect of this situation is how it reflects the renewed spirit Pope has brought to the program. Since taking over as coach of the Wildcats, he has emphasized the importance of keeping the flame of positivity and mutual respect alive, no matter the circumstances. His ability to laugh at himself and others when appropriate creates an environment where players feel comfortable growing and learning, without fear of being harshly judged for their mistakes. That's not to say the coach ignores mistakes. On the contrary, he addresses them constructively, often using humor as a bridge to open deeper dialogues. While some fans interpreted Shepherd's gesture as an affront to the show's sacred values, most understand that the episode was the result of a moment of youthful fun. Over time, these memories tend to turn into funny stories told between laughs, and Pope's comment can be seen as a first step in that direction. And what did you think? The contract extension and salary increase granted to offensive line coach Wolford is significant. Under Stoops, the program has demonstrated a clear commitment to retaining key pieces on its coaching staff, reinforcing the idea that collective success begins with the strength of the team behind the scenes. Wolford, already a household name on the college football scene, returns to Kentucky with valuable experience gained during his 2 years at Alabama under Nick Saban. Stoops' decision to bring Wolford back after Saban's retirement was the right one from the start. But now, with the contract extension and salary increase, it is clear that the Wildcats coach sees Wolford as an indispensable piece of the puzzle for the coming years. The updated amount, $900,000 in 2025 and $925,000 in 2026, reflects not only the recognition of Wolford's talent, but also the strategic importance of his role within the team. Wolford, at 54, is a seasoned veteran whose career has been marked by consistent success in the SEC. His first stint at Kentucky in 2021 had already left positive marks, and his return to the program in 2024 brought a sense of continuity and renewal. The offensive line coach plays a crucial role in any team, especially when it comes to building a solid unit capable of protecting the quarterback and opening up lanes for the runners. At Kentucky, where the running game has always been a prominent place, Wolford's presence takes on even greater relevance. His work is essential for the offense to function very well. The $100,000 salary increase may seem modest compared to the astronomical figures that circulate in the world of professional sports, but in the college context, it is a clear signal that Kentucky is willing to invest in quality. In addition, the clause that obligates Wolford to pay the program $500,000 if he decides to leave Lexington for another position is a smart move to ensure that the coach remains committed to the project for the long term. This strategy reflects Stoops' pragmatic view, who understands that stability behind the scenes is as important as performance on the field. With this move, Kentucky now has 4 assistant coaches under contract for more than 1 season: Eric Wolford, Bush Hamdan, Vince Marrow, and LaDamian Washington. This solid foundation of experienced leaders is essential to maintaining consistency in the program, especially in a conference as competitive as the SEC. While other assistant contracts expire at the end of the 2026 season, the decision to lock in Wolford and his colleagues for longer shows that Kentucky is thinking about the future with caution and ambition. It is also worth noting that Mark Stoops, whose contract runs through 2031, received $9 million in 2024, cementing his position as one of the highest-paid and most respected coaches in the conference. The faith placed in Stoops by Kentucky's leadership has been rewarded with a program that, year after year, remains competitive and attracts top-notch talent. Wolford's extension is yet another example of the team's chemistry. Looking ahead, Kentucky's promised great season appears to be anchored not only by the talent of its players, but also by the strength of its administrative and coaching structure. With Eric Wolford locked in for 2 more years and receiving the financial recognition he deserves, the program is positioned to face the challenges ahead with confidence. The offensive line, often underestimated by those who don't follow the sport in depth, is the beating heart of any American football team. And with Wolford at the helm, the Wildcats have all the tools they need to continue surprising opponents and achieving important victories. What do you think? Leave your comment.